biblical love stories is our topic today. Yeah, many times the Torah tells us many romantic, beautiful stories, and on this show we'd like to understand what love is through those biblical stories. And we'll start with a very exciting story about Jacob and Rachel. He worked for her for 7 years. He really wanted her. He worked 7 years for it, and eventually he got Leah instead, and he was willing to work another 7 years in order to eventually merit Rachel, his beloved one. And the first question I'd like to ask about that love story is, what was that special love between Jacob and Rachel? I'm not a specialist in this field. I can't compare it with the love of this world. I can't come down to the attraction that exists between people. It's not that I disrespect it. It fills our life. It brings people closer, different forms of connection. There is love towards children, love towards parents, your love for your country, and also your love towards your spouse or not your spouse, someone who's... There's love between friends, and so on and so forth. But when we're talking about love, for some reason, we become very narrow and little, only pertaining sex. I for her and she for me, and only this way and this love. I don't understand. Maybe our concept of love, our definition of love, isn't exactly what it says in the Torah, and in general what we're supposed to be thinking about these concepts. And therefore that it's romantic and that the Torah tells about it this way. I don't see anything romantic in the Torah. Same thing here. Tell me please. I am a person. My name is Jacob. I fell in love with some girl. Her name is Rachel. I worked for 7 years. I brought a dowry. Everything's fine. Suddenly, instead of that, I got Leah. It's a strange story. In the middle of the night, I can't see, I don't know. We're brought to our tent there, and again, in the Torah, there are no simple things. These are all secrets. But nonetheless, I got married. What happened happened. I stayed to live with her, and now, for 7 years, in the presence of the first wife, I work in order to get the second wife. What kind of life do I have with the first wife? Can you explain? This is what we wanted to ask you today. Meaning we understand that it's not about our feelings, our ordinary feelings. And therefore, we really have to delve into all these matters if we want to. But Torah, when it speaks about love, the meaning is that I love others. It means that I want in favor of others, that I bestow onto others, that I give, contribute to the others, that I live in order to fulfill the other, like a mother towards her child. In our world, we can say about it, this is love. Or suppose a person can feel love towards his homeland, that a person really sacrifices himself. But a love where a person satisfies his own sexual needs, that's not love. It's not love. Love is where I accept the other, the desire of the other, like a baby, or of a country, or a society, or simply people, that I accept what they need as my own need, as my own deficiency, and I work in order to fulfill them, to provide them with what they need. That's called love. That's the expression of love. If so, then what is the place of love stories stories in the Bible. This is exactly what it is. Stories in this direction. That if I love someone, then I take that person's desire that he would like to receive, fulfill himself with different things that he's lacking, and I'm working in order to fulfill that person. That is the expression of love. And I'm not thinking about the benefit that I'll get as a result. What will I have in return? If so, then what does Jacob represent in this story? That he really wants to bestow and give to a special system of nature called Rachel. And when instead of Rachel, a different system, the system of Leah, is revealed to him, then he understands that he still did not reach the right kind of state where he could correctly relate to nature, to the system, to the correction. He needs further inner correction, and therefore he continues his corrections, and he keeps on working for another 7 years. What are those systems called Rachel and Leah? This is something that we can't explain on this show. In order to understand this, we have to delve into the wisdom of Kabbalah, but we're not talking about people here. The Torah doesn't speak about people or animals or beasts that are dealing with their bodily needs. So from what I understand, Jacob performs certain actions in order to correct himself, and he reaches a certain state called Leah, and then he performs further actions in order to correct himself, in order to reach an additional state called Rachel. And what does all that have to do with love? Fulfilling these systems with all of his exertion means that he loves them. But these aren't people. The Torah doesn't speak about animals, beasts, and as it says, all are deemed as beasts, meaning that I fulfill someone's urges or my own. Then who or what does he love? Where's the love here? The love is that I give, and not that I receive. So it's an action, it's not a feeling, the love. It's an action coming from a great, profound feeling, but it's not that I fulfill myself. I'm not doing it because this way I want to calm a certain urge of mine. So, from what I understand, you're talking about two completely different kinds of love. Of course. So can you please explain the difference between the corporeal love that we'll call love in our world? That this is an egoistic love, actually the love of oneself. How do I calm my urge down? How do I calm myself down by someone else whom I use? That's called the corporeal love of this world, animalistic love, because in this respect, our body is like any other animalistic body with all of its urges. And a spiritual love, it means that I make a restriction over myself. I don't take into account my urges, my desires, my whatever, but I feel the desire and the need of the other, and the desire and the need of the other, that is what I fulfill.